Welcome back, everybody. We are here with another episode of Let's Be Real podcast. Today, we are going to do something new. We are launching a new section called Quick Takes. And this is a section where we would be focusing on one topic and we'll try to keep you updated with the latest happenings in the football world. And so today's topic, we're probably going to be talking about preseason that awaits Real Madrid this summer. I think we all can agree that preseason is pretty important for the players to get into fitness and into the rhythm of things. And so this season, the preseason for Real Madrid starts tomorrow. The first batch of players will be back to the club on like 8th of July, and then the international will start coming back from 10th, when I think it's the Brazilian guys who come back. After that, around the 14th, I think it's the other remaining internationals, which include the likes of Benzema, Tchouaméni, Rudiger, and everybody who was participating in the European Nations League. But I guess the most important thing to notice, and the first thing that we're going to talk about today, is what is the importance of these preseason friendlies for the team. So Farouk, what do you think about preseason friendlies and their importance to the team?
Yeah, I think preseason friendlies are just, like glorified training matches just for the players to, build some fitness and also giving, fans, especially fans who are far away, we don't have access to the teams themselves, a glimpse of their favorite teams. But other than that, yeah, like it's, like I said, it's just a process of building fitness for the players after they've gone on the break, and it's nothing more than that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, because I think even last season, I think we played 4 preseason friendlies, 2 of which were behind closed doors, and 2 of them I didn't think we had the best results. You talking to me about you watched the game against Milan last season, and I think all of us had a lot of hope, but it's sort of disappointed, and because Ancelotti coming back last season, not many of us didn't have the best of expectations, but still the team went on to do well despite even losing to Rangers, and we went on to win the Champions League and La Liga at a canter. So I guess the most important thing of the preseason is to build fitness, but after that, it's about trying new things, right? And if you guys have been following the Spanish press, something that has cropped up recently is probably Ancelotti might try and change the formation, the style that Real Madrid plays with. Something that has come up is the 4-4-2. So Farouk, what's your opinion on Real Madrid going from 4-3-3 to 4-4-2? Because 4-3-3 is something that we have seen Real Madrid play, I don't know, since 2013. So what do you think about this proposed switch in formation?
Yeah, so for the 4-4-2 now, it now becomes like this. You get a lot of stability in the center of the park, but you also lose a bit of stability on the flanks as well. In the sense that now we're almost going to eliminate the right winger position. I guess that's what's going to happen with most likely Rodrigo dropping and maybe one of the new midfielders, or maybe Fede Valverde maintaining his position in a 4-4-2 formation. I personally feel like I've always been a fan of a 4-4-2 diamond, but I don't like a flat 4-4-2 because I feel like we are not equipped with that, because the flat 4-4-2s we use natural wingers actually in the past. That's the great 4-4-2s that have been played in the past.
The English 4-4-2.
But right now, yeah, exactly. So, but right now, we don't have the natural wingers to support to play this system with. And I would say right now, it's not rather than the wingers, though, we don't have the midfielders to play the 4-4-2 with. If you're going to play 2 natural wingers on the wing and 2 central midfielders. So I personally feel like a 4-4-2 in a diamond system might work, but I'm not very, very, sure about how a 4-4-2 with 2 strikers and 4 midfielders is going to work, to be honest.
I think a lot of this is coming from the fact that Real Madrid signed Tchouaméni and Camavinga. I think both of these 2 players have a certain adeptness in playing in a double pivot, So, and even in the game against City, if you remember, it was Ancelotti withdrew Modric, Casemiro, and Cruz, and left Fede and Camavinga to be the 2 pivot midfielders, and I think they did well. So I think that is something to be kept in mind. Another thing is the fact that it could probably also be the fact, Valverde plays as a right midfielder, and then one of Rodrigo or Vinicius plays as a left midfielder, and the other guy plays as a striker. For me personally, I would prefer, Rodrigo and Benzema being the 2 strikers up front with Vinicius and making up the left midfield. If you look at it, maybe it somehow automatically, switches itself into a 4-3-3, because Rodrigo, Vinicius, and Benzema, they are attackers, and Fede and Modric and whoever is the third midfielder kind of like makes a three-man midfield. But who do you think goes out if that happens? Is it the end for Casemiro or?
I think Casemiro stays. I think it's more likely a rotation between Kroos and Modric right now. That's what's gonna happen. But I don't think that's gonna happen. Actually, I don't think you're gonna play both Vinicius and Rodrigo in a 4-4-2 system. I think it's gonna be most likely something that's gonna happen as the game progresses in the 68th and the 78th minute, because I think the whole purpose of doing that is to create solidity in the midfield. And if you're putting Vinicius as an extra midfielder, I think you're removing that solidity. So I feel like it's going to be more of the hybrid system where you have a right winger and a right midfielder together in the mode of Valverde or something like that. So I think it's going to continue as such. So rather than the midfielders dropping out, it's going to be more of Rodrigo Asensio losing their spot in the team.
Yeah, possibly. I think Asensio's future is something that we all are pretty intrigued about, and it's something that we will probably discuss further on in this episode. But I think moving on from the 4-4-2 formation, and something that dovetails with it is how Ancelotti manages to include Tchouaméni and Rudiger into the team. Because let's be honest, we had a pretty successful season. Going into the last season, probably not many of us had most high expectations. But now we come in as European champions, right? And the expectations are going to be pretty high. So, and new players coming into a champion team is always going to be difficult because players have roles that they know what they are going to perform. So, we had Alaba and Militao playing at the center of defense. So now that Rudiger comes in, what happens? Does Mendy go out, or does Casemiro have to be afraid for his position? So, what do you think? How do you envision Ancelotti, making use of Tchouaméni and Rudiger?
So first, I'll just first like to address the thing about you said about expectations. So I would say the thing is this. I don't know, maybe it's just something personal for me, but I am very, very aware that we're not the best team in Europe. So because of that, I wouldn't panic after a couple of games doesn't go well at the beginning of the season because we're European champions.
We definitely aren't the best, but there are certain expectations when you're the European champions, right?
Yeah, definitely. They are even to remove the European champions. As long as you're Real Madrid, there are expectations that you get. But I mean, the fans should not be expecting a 20-game winning streak or something like that. So let's just temper our expectations and hopefully we can build something, because the truth is that we're still in a transition phase. Our transition isn't complete yet. So, anyways, to address your question, I think for Tchouaméni, I think it's a more different thing in the sense that I personally feel like Tchouaméni is gonna be bedded into the system bit by bit. He's not gonna come in and all of a sudden have the whole responsibility of the world on his shoulders. He's gonna be more of an afterthought at the beginning of the season, and eventually as the season progresses, if he can grab the opportunities that are being given to him, such as Camavinga before him has done, then he can become an important member of the squad. However, for Antonio Rudiger, that's a very curious thing to me, because I myself am waiting to see how Carlo Ancelotti eventually does balance this out. I'm thinking maybe does he go with Alaba at the fullback, sending Mendy to the substitute bench, or how does he eventually go? Because I feel like Militao, to be honest, has earned this position, to be honest, and Alaba also has earned this position. But the point now becomes this: if there is any doubt about the defense, it's always about being Mendy, and it's not about the defense of Mendy, but it's about the attack of Mendy, right? So that's what we always question about Ferland Mendy. But to be honest, the thing now becomes this: I also feel that Ferland Mendy gives Vinicius the platform to do what he does. So there's also this as well. So that's why I say, for me, it's just a paradox all there. I don't know how eventually this is gonna happen. But yeah, thank God I'm not the coach, man. So let's see what Carlo
I think
does
it is
eventually.
definitely going to be interesting, because last season, Carlo, he started with Benzema, Bale, and Hazard. But as things went on, he tried to tinker with everything, and then when he earned his role, so probably we would see something like that. Probably goes with Alaba starting at left back. But if things don't work out, defensively, he could probably still bring in Ferland Mendy back into the fold. So I think this preseason is going to be a good time to try test new things out, because we are facing some really good teams in Barcelona and Juventus, and another team from Mexico, Club America. So I think it's going to be an interesting preseason for sure. But then another position of doubt for Real Madrid is who is going to be the backup striker. Luka Jovic thankfully has finally left Real Madrid. I wish him the best, but I think it wouldn't be controversial to say it wasn't the best of deals for us. So there is a possibility of Borja Mayoral being the backup. What is your opinion on that?
Actually, so I was reading something about the fact that Hazard wants to move central. I don't know if that you
Yeah,
read
yeah,
that
I've
as
read
well.
that
So,
as well.
so I was reading something else. But actually, for me, I was thinking more of Hazard moving to the right and Rodrigo being tried out as a center forward. Because the point is that, in my opinion, no one, there is nothing to write home about everyone who is there. Be it Mariano, be it Mayoral, I don't know, just to name a few. I just prefer to have a strikerless fluid system. I don't know, like if we could test that out and see how it works, because to be honest, like these guys, the level drops so much that when Benzema is not there, like we're just in no man's land. So I'd rather we trial a system that is strikerless. So we have a system that's just a fluid system with no recognized striker, and everyone just interchanging of positions. I'd take that over playing with one of the recognized strikers that are on our books right now.
Yeah, I think that's definitely an interesting suggestion, because the idea that Eden Hazard finds a role as a false nine, because that is a position that he did play at Chelsea towards the end of his tenure, because Chelsea has this infamous issues with the number 9 shirt. So Hazard has played there, and then Rodrigo is someone who has been touted by some people as probably being able to play centrally. But I think Borja Mayoral, personally, for me, provides an interesting opportunity, because this is a guy who probably comes the closest to Benzema among the players that are under contract for Real Madrid. So I think Borja Mayoral is probably somebody, he has the ability to, defend. He knows how to link up play. Benzema is one of Borja Mayoral's idols, because I remember, I think it was in 18-19, he scored a goal, and then he dedicated to Karim. He said that Karim was pretty proud of the fact that he had scored a goal in that manner, being dynamic. So I think Benzema is definitely somebody Mayoral looks up to, and Mayoral himself is pretty dynamic, and he has the ability to link up play and move around and not just be stationary in the box, like Jovic used to be hiding behind defenders. So I think that is something that would help us, and having a central reference is something that I think cannot be understated, because against Barcelona, I really struggled with that. So I think Mayoral definitely has a utility going into the next season if he decides to stay, because I think that's also a question mark. Because I remember reading in, I think it was Dario As or Marca, that Mayoral probably wants to have a conversation with Carlo Ancelotti when the preseason starts, ostensibly tomorrow. And then there's also this thing that Ceballos talked about, that Ancelotti, he wants a conversation with Ancelotti before he decides what future holds for him. So where do you see these guys? Do you think Mayoral stays at Real Madrid and accepts a backup role? Although the thing is, like, although Real Madrid might want Mayoral to accept that backup role, but Mayoral might not want to. So what do you think the future holds for these two guys?
For firstly, let's go with Dani Ceballos. I think it's the end of the line for Dani Ceballos, because the point becomes this: like, there are currently 6 midfielders there and maybe 3 rows, max 4 rows. And I think Ceballos is going to be the 7th midfielder at best. So I don't know what that's, because the point is that he's coming back from back-to-back injuries and what is and what is not, and he has not had a lot of game time. Although towards the end of last season he proved to be useful, I think it's time he reset everything and start over from scratch. Like, he's not too old yet; he should be approaching his prime, or in his prime, something close to that. So I think he just time to hit the reset button, go to a team that can give him a lot of minutes, and then see if he can come back to the top of European football once more. Regarding to Borja Mayoral, I think the club will be glad for him to stay, as you just rightly pointed out, due to the characteristics you pointed out earlier. Although I am not convinced about that, but I think I think it's just a easy and a cheap option for the club to have Borja stick around and let him be the substitute striker for Karim Benzema. But then also, we're all individuals, and firstly, we have our own self-interest as well as usual. So he has to speak to the to the Don himself, and based on what they discussed, then he can decide to stay or to go. But for me, I'm indifferent towards it, because I know that I currently, right now, if you ask me, I think Borja Mayoral wouldn't play that much to have a lot of effects that much. So yeah, I don't think he's gonna be integral to our season. So this is just what I think. Maybe I come back to it my words though.
Well, I definitely think that that's a pretty valid point. Everybody wants to look at their interests as well, because I think Mayoral is somebody who has been affected by the fact that he has been shunted on loan so many times. First he went to Levante, then he went to Roma, and then when he did well at Roma, Mourinho comes in and sort of dumps him for Tammy Abraham or whoever.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then he comes to Getafe, and then he again scores goals. If I remember, in La Liga this past season, I think Borja Mayoral had one of the best shot conversion ratios because he took the fewest shots and scored the most goals for those number of shots. So I think he's done well at Getafe, and probably he deserves a move if he wants. If he wants to go to a place that could offer him regular football, and that's what he wants. And I think nobody at Real Madrid is going to begrudge him that. Interestingly for him, Getafe and Celta Vigo are two clubs that are interested in signing him. So let's hope for the best for him. But while we're talking about outgoing, another name that crops up is Marco Asensio. So what do you think the future holds for Marco Asensio at Real Madrid, and how quickly do you think he should be off?
Asensio needs to go. That's the thing. I think for the best of both him and us, he needs to go because, at Real Madrid, we still have, he still has this weight on his shoulder that he's the next coming of Cristiano. Like, he's the guy who's gonna, take over from Cristiano and what is and what is not. So because of that, like, the pressure is so much, like the expectations are so high for him. So I feel like he's also one player who needs to just reset, hit the reset button as well, and just a change of environment will be something that suits him a lot. I think even going abroad will be something that suits him, like, I don't know, the Premier League, Serie A, something like that. Just I feel like he needs a change of environment to be able to hit those heights again, if that's even possible.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I hope he finds a team that plays to his style, because I think putting Marco Asensio out on the wing is something that probably is not the best position for him. Maybe somewhere where he could play as a second striker, attacking midfielder, where he plays off of a central reference point is probably going to be helpful for him. Because if you remember, in the game against Mallorca, he played centrally off of Benzema, and he scored a hat trick. So he has that goal scoring touch in him. So I think that will stand him in good stead wherever he goes. But I hope he finds a team that where he can play his natural role the best. So moving on from that, for the final point of the day, we're probably going to talk about Castilla players. Like yesterday, there was a segment in El Chiringuito. I don't know how many of our viewers watch it. I'm pretty sure that Farouk, you don't watch it because I don't think it's up your alleyway. But the thing is, like in El Chiringuito, Edu Aguirre mentioned the fact that there's probably going to be 4 Castilla players who are going to be going with the first team on preseason. It's going to be Rafa Marin, Antonio Blanco, and I think Vinicius Tobias, and there was another guy, Juan Latasa. Yeah, so probably these 4 are going to go with them. But then I think for Madridistas, the biggest surprise was the fact that Miguel Gutierrez and Sergio Arribas are not there in the team. So I think Arribas not being there is especially disappointing because he had a brilliant season last season with Castilla, and Miguel Gutierrez is somebody that everybody who follows Castilla has a very high hopes from, because we think he's probably going to be one of the best left backs in the future. But then I think an important question that needs to be asked is the fact: is there a realistic chance for Castilla players to make to get playing time next season with Real Madrid first team?
So I think actually the thing now becomes this, right? So to be honest, I'm not like a very huge follower of the Castilla team, but one thing I can say to you is this, right? So I know Gutierrez because I've seen him play. Gutierrez is a left back, right? And now we're talking about the starting left back of the Champions League winning team most likely being sent to the bench. So how does this guy get a chance? So I think it's for his own benefit that he finds a team as soon as possible so he can join them on preseason and he can embed into the team and what is not. That's the thing. The other guy, Sergio Arribas, also a central midfielder. We're talking about Dani Ceballos being the 7th midfielder right now. He's gonna go there and be maybe the 8th midfielder. Maybe not even the 8th. He's gonna be behind Antonio Blanco. So he's gonna be the 9th midfielder.
Arribas also has the ability to play right mid, but then he is kind of like Asensio in being a cam. So he even if he starts at right mid, he's gonna drift towards the center. So I don't really know how much that helps the first team.
Yeah. So actually, for me, the person like I think has the best chance among the lot you mentioned, because the point is Rafa Marin is a centre back, and that's there's Nacho there as also, and also then Vinicius Tobias also, like, he's a right back, and he's gonna play. Yeah. Even away from the non-EU thing, it's Dani Carvajal and Lucas Vazquez for that position. So he's also gonna play.
Odriozola is probably staying. So.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I also miss Salvador as well. I think Juan Milatasa is the guy who I feel like if he can put his head down and put in the hard work, he can be the guy you were talking about. In the place of Borja Mayoral, I think he can actually he has a fighting chance. He has a chance to win the fight as well. So that's the person I would look out for the most, in my opinion.
I think right now Borja Mayoral and Juanmi Latas are probably going to end up fighting for, like literally crumbs of minutes because Benzema is really going to take the biggest chunk of it all. And I think yesterday some news came out that might worry like Real Madrid fans is the fact that Juanmi Latas does not want to continue at Castilla. So if he's not guaranteed the first team, he's probably going to leave. He's probably going to want to leave. Let's see what Real Madrid does. But I guess we can only hope for the best. And if a couple of years back when this team won the UEFA Youth League, if you had asked me like which guy had the best chance of making the Real Madrid first team, I never would have mentioned Juanmi Latasa because I think like although he's good, he's not that good. So, but given now how things have turned out and Juanmi Latasa has the best chance of making the first team, it's sort of like bewildering to me. But that's how things.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess that's it for today, and we're probably gonna be hoping for the best for the team in the preseason. We fly out to America on I think July 19th, and the first game is on July 23rd against Barcelona. So before that, those games we probably do other preview of the Clásico and what to expect. So till then, guys, Hala Madrid.
Hala Madrid.